What would you call reality? What do you believe to be true about your life, your limits, your possibilities? What if I told you that none of that is fixed? What if I said the rules that hold you back aren't even real, just a script you were handed, but one you can rewrite at any moment? The truth is, you've been conditioned to follow belief systems you didn't choose. It's like you were dropped into a game but never told that you could change the rules. Here's the most powerful part. You have the ability to flip the script right now. You don't need to wait for something external to change. You don't need permission. But most people don't even realize that this chance has always been right there. They keep playing a game they can never win, just because they believe there's no other way. But today, everything shifts. You're about to understand why some people seem to succeed effortlessly, while others, no matter how hard they try, stay trapped in the same loop. You're going to discover the invisible force shaping your reality and how to harness it. And before you assume this is just another motivational cliché, I'll show you the evidence, science, history, and practical techniques that give you the keys to rewrite your destiny. The only question is, are you ready to see the truth? Everything you believe to be real was, in some way, programmed into you. Since the moment you were born, your mind has been bombarded with invisible rules. Work hard to be someone. Money doesn't grow on trees. You can't have it all. But what if these weren't truths, just mental commands implanted into your thinking? What if, instead of facts, these were dogmas designed to keep you inside a system where you're never meant to win? Neuroscience has already shown that our perception of reality isn't objective. It's filtered by what we believe is possible. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, a mental radar that filters what's relevant to you. A simple example: you learn a new word and suddenly you start seeing it everywhere. The word didn't magically appear, it was always there. Your brain just started noticing it. Now imagine that on a bigger scale. If you believe life is hard, your brain will only highlight hardship. If you believe you're incapable, it will constantly confirm it for you. Here's the secret no one told you. Your reality is not fixed. It's entirely moldable. What you perceive as limitations are simply reflections of how your brain has been conditioned to see things. The good news? You can reprogram that. Picture a board game where everyone plays by a set of rules. Some people learn early that they can bend those rules or create new ones. Others just blindly follow what was set for them. Guess who wins? The truth is, your entire life can change the moment you realize your limitations aren't real. They're just distorted versions of reality imposed on you. And when you learn to see beyond what you've been taught, you discover a universe of possibilities waiting to be explored. Now stop and reflect. How many decisions have you made based on rules you never even questioned? How many dreams have you left behind because you thought they were impossible? What would happen if, starting today, you acted as if there were no limits? Now here's where things get even more powerful. Now that you know reality is malleable, what's stopping you from changing it? Do you realize how much your own mind has been holding you captive? Everything you believe about yourself, about money, success, relationships, happiness, none of it was consciously chosen by you. These are beliefs planted in your mind since childhood. They've become invisible, which is why they feel like absolute truth. But here's what nobody told you. Those truths are just edited versions of reality, shaped by past experiences, culture, and external influences. And most of them keep you stuck in cycles of limitation and frustration. Think about it. If someone told you as a child that you'd never be able to swim, and every time you tried, they laughed and reinforced that belief, what would happen? You'd stop trying. Not because you can't, but because your mind accepted that story. The same goes for everything else. You're not afraid of failure, you were taught to fear it. You're not bad with money, you were programmed to believe that. Here's the game changer. If these beliefs were installed without your permission, they can also be removed and replaced. Science has already proven that the human brain has incredible plasticity, an ability to change and adapt, which means you can literally rewrite your internal programming and start operating on an entirely new level. But to do that, you must first identify the beliefs sabotaging you. Take a piece of paper and write down the biggest challenge in your life right now. Then ask yourself, what belief is behind this? If you think you can't make more money, the belief might be, money is hard to earn, or I'm not good enough to succeed. If you're stuck in a bad relationship, maybe you believe, love hurts, or no one will ever truly love me. Be honest with yourself, because these thoughts have been repeated so many times in your mind that they've become automatic. But here's the truth. They are not reality. Now comes the part that changes everything. Question that belief. Ask, is this really true, or just something I accepted without thinking? Can you find examples of people who proved the opposite? Every time you uncover a limiting belief, find a real-life case that destroys it. If you believe only rich people succeed, research someone who came from nothing and built an extraordinary life. Your mind needs proof to accept change, so feed it stories that show new realities are possible. And here's the final trick. Replace the old belief with a new one and reinforce it daily. If you've always said, I'm terrible with money, start saying, I'm financially smart and always find opportunities. It may sound too simple to be true, but neuroscience confirms this. The brain doesn't distinguish between reality and what is repeated over and over. What you tell yourself daily becomes your new truth. That's the secret behind people who seem to transform their lives like magic. So the question now is, are you ready to question everything you've been taught? Because from this moment on, you have a choice. Keep living by the invisible rules that keep you stuck, or break them, and write a new story for yourself. But before you decide, let me show you something deeper. What happens when you realize your attention is the true key to changing your reality? Have you ever noticed how your attention seems to attract things into your life? Like when you start thinking about buying a certain car, and suddenly you see it everywhere. Or when you learn a new word and it keeps popping up. That's no coincidence. That's your brain filtering what it considers important. And here's the shocking part. That same mechanism defines what you see and what you don't in your own life. The truth is, reality doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you focus on. The reticular activating system acts like a radar, filtering the world through your beliefs and your focus. If you believe life is unfair, your brain will keep showing you evidence to prove it. If you think you're unlucky, you'll only notice situations that confirm it. But the opposite is also true. If you focus on opportunities, your brain will begin to spot doors you never noticed before. Here's the problem. Most people focus on what they don't want. They wake up thinking about problems, fears, and obstacles, reinforcing the very reality they wish to escape. Ever noticed how someone who always complains about money stays broke? Or someone who says, people suck, only finds toxic relationships? That's because their attention is trained to seek proof for their belief. But here's the transformational shift. If you change what you focus on, your life will follow. This isn't philosophy. It's science. Your brain learns patterns and reinforces them. If you train your mind to look for opportunities instead of problems, a new world will reveal itself. Try this experiment right now. Look around the room and focus on anything blue. Memorize where it is. Now close your eyes and try to recall everything red. Hard, isn't it? Because your brain wasn't focused on it. Life works the same way. If you only look for limitations, you'll only find them. If you train your brain to see possibilities, they will begin to appear. This is why some people always seem to find solutions, while others drown in problems. What sets them apart isn't luck, talent, or intelligence, it's focus. So from now on, every time you catch yourself thinking something negative, immediately replace it with a possibility. If your mind says, this is too hard, ask, what if it were easy? If it says, I can't do this, ask, how can I learn to? It might sound silly, But this is exactly how you start rewiring your attention to spot opportunities where you used to see barriers. Reality doesn't bend to your wishes, it bends to your focus. So now the question is, what exactly are you focusing on every day? Because the answer explains why you are where you are. But what if there were a way to not just change your focus, but to completely rewrite your reality?